Today is March 15th, 2022. We're here on Pine Street in Capitol Hill in just east of downtown Seattle. And the reason we wanted to come out here tonight is to show how the area formerly known as CHOP presently looks. So the CHOP was known as the Capitol Hill Occupied Protest. It formed back on, trying to get the date correct, looks like June 8th, 2020 by George Floyd protesters. And it was made possible because the police precinct had abandoned their area. So then just a large group of civilians took over a 6-block radius that included this area and Cal Anderson Park, which is what you see up ahead here. The takeover lasted about, I don't know, maybe 3 or 4 weeks, and it was officially cleared out of occupants by police on July 1st. But if you go onto YouTube and look at some of the videos from that time that people shot of the CHOP, you'll see some pretty crazy stuff. Yeah. We were here on Saturday evening. Today is Tuesday evening, and the whole Capitol Hill area was really out and about with a ton of people back on Saturday. I know it would be nice actually to get across the street. I think this is a big Black Lives Matter sign. But yeah, Saturday night was really crowded on both Pine Street and Pike Street. Pike is the next street over. Tuesday evening, there's a lot of people in some of the restaurants, but as far as walking the street, it big time pales in comparison. But I wonder if this was created during the CHOP zone situation or if it was done before that. I know it may be hard to see from this angle, but throughout the whole middle of the street, you've got the letters and very colorful artwork representing Black Lives Matter. And I think the police precinct, if I remember correctly, might be one of these upcoming buildings. Prior to visiting Seattle, as you see two little tiny rats walking on the ground there, following each other. Maybe not rats, little mice. Yeah, prior to coming to Seattle, we watched a couple of videos on YouTube about the CHOP zone. Seems like something that you can't imagine ever happening, but it did. It was to the point where the police were almost letting them do their thing and form their own civilization within that 6-block radius. I think I even read something about someone got like injured or hurt and they were denied the basically there was nothing that could be done. They couldn't provide support or protection for it. You can see the building over there with all the graffiti on it. I know I'm next to all the cars here, so it's hard to see, but that whole side of that green building was riddled with graffiti. And I think on some of the YouTube videos that I saw, that was a popular area where you'd see people just sitting on the ground and hanging out. I mean, it's not like there were homes in this area. People were just living on the streets. I think it was a mix of kind of a mix of a wide variety of crowd, activists and maybe some homeless or just even some regular people who wanted to support the movement that was going on at the time. Now, this building here is the Seattle Police Department for the East Precinct. I assume that they've moved back into it, but I'm not 100% positive. I mean, there's no one at the desk right now, so maybe they haven't moved back into it. So I'm not an expert on how the chop situation was, but based on looking at Google Maps, it seemed like the chop zone extended several blocks that way, which is in the direction of Cal Anderson Park. And then maybe one of the perimeter areas was 12th, and then it went backward to where we came from, and then also partly extended toward Pike. Now, I don't know how much it actually took over on the Pike Street, but at least I assume some of these roads back and forth on 12th, 11th, and 10th it extended to. And there's supposed to be a couple restaurants here, so even if there's no artifacts of graffiti, I'll just do a little bit of a walk. Again, showing how the area is no longer reminiscent of how it was back when it was the chop. Police only, 24 hours. Yeah, again, it's weird. It's like the police precinct building is still there, but wouldn't there be someone in there, or did they still abandon it to this day? Cinema, is this a movie forum? Northwest Film Forum? Maybe an area where you can make films or see small films, maybe independent films. So now we're getting up to Pike Street. Well, that's a funny name for a store, Little Big Burger. So is it a little burger or a big burger? Let's continue on. So between 12th and 11th, there didn't seem to be too many restaurants, but starting at 11th on Pike, you see more activity going down 11th Street. Let's go back down 11th. Together's always better. The 5 Iron Golf Talk Birdie to Me store or restaurant, as well as a sports and a bar place. Yeah, so maybe some of this area isn't fully recovered yet. There are some vacancies down 12th, 11th, and 10th. I'll have to go back on Google Maps and see how the presence looked prior to 2020 when the chop zone occurred. So this is the way we came at the start of the video when we were looking at that Black Lives Matter artwork in the center of the street. I saw this earlier. I don't know what the heck this is. I just stopped the video there for a brief second. Wanted to take one still picture of Cal Anderson Park. And I might use that as the thumbnail for this video. We're coming back to 10th Avenue. So we'll again loop back to the left. You can see within the crosswalks they have all like the rainbow colors for the LGBT. I think I'll go over first to the other side and then, oh, there's a car turning right here. Off of Pine Street. Yeah, it looks like there's a little more activity on 10th here. I think I'm stepping on glass left and right there. Oddfellows Lodge. There's some outdoor dining options, at least at some point there were. Cafe for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Elliott Bay Book Company. I feel like I had read about this in one of the articles too, that this area was taken over. Maybe that's why they have a more secure fence there now, unless that was always there. I assume these outdoor dining things were not here yet when the chop was happening. I feel like those were more of a winter 2020 thing. Lost Lake Cafe and Lounge. Takeaway tacos across the street there. Oh, and what do we have here? Kind of was a mural. The big pop can and a fish trying to drink from it. I see another mural across the street there, Ode to Capitol Hill, with the two hands reaching out and chugging. Comet Tavern. Again, it's too bad we couldn't do a video on Saturday night when I was just exploring the area. Are those cats or something on the thing? I'm gonna pause the video for a second here. Okay, we just went back to right where we started at Pine Street and Broadway. We're basically out of the area that would have been the chop zone, but this is kind of unique at the middle intersection. See how there's a ton of intersecting streetcar wires? Like, how do you make a sense of that whole, almost looks like a web of a mess. And that's the most streetcar wires I've ever seen all together in one spot. So now we're walking away from that chop area and going kind of back toward downtown Seattle, which you can see a little bit in the distance. Don't want to give the impression now that there's like completely solved of the homelessness or struggling problem here, though, because even though I'm not showing them on camera, we're still passing by quite a few tense and unfortunate situations where people are out on the street. And look at this, I saw this message when we were walking by earlier. I want to be like Barbie. That bitch has a something. I don't know. So there's some unique graffiti there as well. But yeah, that pretty much is going to conclude our video covering the chop zone. Again, I encourage you to check out some other videos if you're not aware of it from back in 2020 of how it was. If you liked this video in particular, though, feel free to hit the like button or give us a subscribe. Leave a comment below if you experienced this atmosphere and maybe can tell us more about how the area transformed. And we will see you next time. So, even though we're out of the chop zone, quick little bonus footage here. Right before you get back to downtown Seattle, on Pike, there's this Starbucks Reserve Roastery and Tasting Room. It was way more packed on Saturday night, but still pretty crowded here Tuesday before they close at 10 o'clock p.m. But they've got a ton of different machines, and look how huge the place is. It's like the most upscale looking Starbucks you can get, and I see some delicious looking pastries there as well. Yeah, I'm sure besides going to that very first Starbucks that was at Pike, this would be quite an experience too, to try out this Starbucks. (1971), this is where it all began. Starbucks Pike Place Market, our first store in Seattle. Yeah, they had a little signage in there for that. Yeah, again, thanks for tuning into the video.